All right, welcome to my next video in my node by node challenge. I'm going through every single node within Blender 4.3 in the shader editor, explaining a little bit about how they work and some ways that you can use them. I've gone through a bunch of different ones already, and so we're on our next one here, which is called Object Info. And so Object Info is a node that you can do to do all sorts of randomizing, changing of patterns, and some real variations within your work, especially when you have multiple items that are similar. So we're going to go through and explain a little bit how each of these different channels works. So first off, we have location. So location is going to change patterns based on where an object is in your scene. So for example, normally, let's say we had a Voronoi texture connected up to the base color, you're going to see it's going to have variations with everything on here. And let's actually do it with color because it just looks a little cooler. So if you have a variation with all the different colors and the objects on here, if you look at it, they're all identical though. They're just copies of each other. Well, we don't want that. We want it to have some variation so they look cool and different. So what you could do is you could take your texture coordinate, take an object info node, and use a vector math. So vector math is combining the X, Y, and Z channel between the different objects. So we're going to take these two, we're going to combine them, drop in the location here, and now you'll see each one is unique, right? So it's got a different pattern, and if we went ahead and added another one, it's going to go ahead and that one's going to be different than the other ones you already created. So that's a really cool way you can add some variation to it. And you can do that with other things such as height and scale and rotation and everything else as well. But this is just one way you can do it. So it's basically combining the location of it. So let's say that we take that off and let's look at what color does. So color, each one of these objects has a color associated to it over in the Object Info tab under Viewport Display. So if you select whatever color it is, so let's say like this one I put as a blue, this one is also blue, this one's red, this one's green. So if we look at these ones are all going to be assigned different colors. So if we take the color, drop it into the base color, it's actually going to show all those in the viewport display, even though these are copies of each other. So by selecting a color in the viewport display, you can always have it revert back to whatever original color you had associated to it. So that's something that can be useful in certain ways as well. Now alpha is a little different. Alpha is the alpha channel of color. So let's say if you understand how alpha works, alpha is basically if something's visible or not visible. You have it all the way at 0, it's not visible, it's invisible. If you have it all the way up, it's fully visible. So if we were to basically take this this object here and we wanted to drop the alpha, so let's say we want to make this one invisible but all these are visible. Okay, so we would go over into the color over here, there's an alpha channel, you drop the alpha channel down to 0. Okay, so now this one has a 0 alpha channel. Let's make this one halfway. Okay, so we take this, let's put the alpha down about halfway, just roughly, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now what we're going to do is take this object info node, we're going to attach the alpha to the alpha. And now what you're going to see is this one disappeared and this one's like half visible. So all you're doing is you're going to be able to pick whatever alpha you have selected in the viewport display to be able to be used in the object info. Okay, so now let's say we're not going to use that. Let's say that we want to be able to control it, but let's say that we want every other one to have a certain color, for example. Okay, what you can do is use a object index to whatever you're trying to do. So let's say the base color, we're doing object index. And then for the object index, we're going to come over here and we're going to go to the relations. So relations on here are going to control what colors they are. Okay, so in this case, object index is going to start out as black and white. Okay, so if we don't want it to be black and white and we want it to be different colors, what we can do is drop a color ramp in here. Okay, and we're going to be able to, let's actually do a color ramp with less colors just to show you an example. So let's say that we wanted to add in a color ramp. We go ahead and use the object index. let's just pick two various colors. We'll pick a blue and we'll pick a green. Okay, so we got blue and green on here. And let's say that we wanted to have every other color be blue, for example. What we can do is we can come over into the object index. So if you click on an item, you come over here, you go to the object info, you go under relations, and there's something called pass index. Number 1 would be the far right side, which is green. 0 would be blue. Okay. If you had more than one, let's say that you had like 3 colors on here. So let's pick a third color. So this one will make yellow, or a weird yellow. So now when you go through these, you're going to be able to select the different colors.